Warning. Geesebumps is a comedy podcast based on the works of R.L. Stine. Any similarity to an actual literature podcast is coincidental and unintentional.
You can't teach an old dummy new tricks. Amy's ventriloquist dummy, Dennis, keeps losing his head. For real. So Amy begs her family for a new dummy. That's when her dad finds Slappy at a local pawn shop. Slappy's kind of ugly, but Amy's having fun practicing her new routine. Then horrible things start happening. Horrible, nasty things. Just like what happened the first time. 'Cause there's something odd about Slappy. Something not quite right. Something evil. The Blue Collar Comedy Tour rides again is pleased to welcome to the stage Slappy the Dummy Guy.
If you've got someone's hand shoved up your rear, you might just be a dummy.
Well, I might be a dummy then.
Oh, I'm a dummy every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Hey, that's between you and Saturday. Welcome to Geesebumps, a Did You Mean Goosebumps podcast. My name is Danielle. I have a PhD.
My name is Jojo and I have a PhD.
My name is Jeff, and I don't know if I went over this the first time we did a dummy book, but I have an intimate fear of ventriloquist dummies.
I remember what happened. You said your grandma one time was a bad grandma.
Yeah.
And she brought you a ventriloquist dummy, and you screamed bloody murder when you saw it, and your family called you a coward.
Yeah. I was.
You know what's? But wait, but here's the thing, and Jeff, here's where I'm surprised, right? I didn't remember that. I made it up just now.
Well, it's about accurate because who else? Okay.
Like if you say you're afraid of dummies, there's
one story.
There's like two ways that goes. The first way is bad gift. The second way is trapped in dummy place, like place where dummies
trapped with
are.
Dummy.
I'm just trying to imagine like going to hang out at someone's house for the first time and then like walking in a room and just seeing a ventriloquist dummy. And I don't know what my
That is absolutely
that's a red flag.
Yes.
So I think this is tough, right? Because like if you're dating, okay, this is the hard part. Let's say that like you're a perfectly normal person, except you have this weird kink, which is you're a ventriloquist. That's your kink.
Of course.
So, and I'm going to call it a kink because there seems to be shame associated with it because I don't know many of them.
Yeah.
So, let's say you're on the one of them, Bumble, we'll say.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, sure.
And
It would be
you
Tinder because it's for dummies.
Oh, shit.
Wow, Jeff.
Shots.
You're working on your
fired.
tight five for the comedy store, I see.
Yeah.
Who's the more dangerous predator? The person who has photos of themselves up with a ventriloquist dummy on a dating website, or the person who doesn't yet agrees to go on a date with the person
Second person.
who obviously is a ventriloquist.
Second person.
Because the thing is, if they're hiding this,
Exactly.
listen. I brought you into my home where I keep my father's ashes.
They live in this
And you
dummy.
brought this evil in with you. How can I trust anything you say?
First person's being honest. Second person is full of lies and deceit.
Imagine the first person, they go on the date and they're like out at a nice dinner and they show up, the second person shows up and they're like, wait, you didn't bring the, where's the dummy?
Where's your friend?
Where's your friend? I was so
And then they
excited to
go,
see your friend.
What dummy? What are you talking about?
I don't have a dummy. What are you talking about?
Or you know what's really good? You know what's really good? You go over to their house for the first time and the dummy is sitting in a chair waiting for you.
Yes.
And then they walk up to the dummy and they're like, "Hey, where's Janae?" And the dummy's like, "As it turns out, Janae was the puppet."
Night of the Living Dummy 4.
Yes.
So we read Night of the Living Dummy. What number is this?
This is 2 Goosebumps number 31.
Number 31. Also, we say this at the end as well. I already know because of time travel. Also, happy anniversary.
Oh, shit.
Happy anniversary. We've done our
Happy
podcast
anniversary,
for a full
y'all.
Gregorian calendar
A
year.
full ass year. All right. So today on Geesebumps, JoJo is going to be doing the synopsis of Night of the Living Dummy, Part 2.
Also known as Night of the Living Dummy
Again.
Rides Again.
Night of the Living Dummy remake. Retcon.
Reskinned.
Wes Craven's new dummy.
I would watch that.
All right. So 2 minutes on the clock. Are you ready?
I think so.
Are you steady?
I think so.
All right. On your mark, get set, read.
Amy is I believe, a middle child as a part of a fairly large family. She has a sister named Sarah, who's a little older than she is. She has a younger brother named Jed, and she has her two parents and a cat named George. She lives in a small house. And the thing that we know about Amy at the very start is that her and her family have this thing on Thursday where they basically do some kind of a fucked up talent show. So every one of the kids does something to kind of prove that they're cool. Amy is known for telling really good stories, and also she is a ventriloquist. However, her ability to do that, she feels is inadequate because her dummy sucks, and Sarah is just a much better painter, and Jed is just, I don't remember what his talent is. I think he's just funny,
just
but he's better than her.
He's just an asshole.
So she complains to her dad, hey, could you get me a better dummy? And he's like, nah, they're expensive. Also, dummies are stupid. And so what happens is the next day, her dad brings her a dummy that he was able to find on the cheap, and it is, of course, the titular Slappy. She looks at it, she thinks it's awesome. She sticks her hand in it. Turns out there's a moldy sandwich in there. She thought it was his brain. Classic R.L. Stine and the chapter goof. So she has the dummy. She starts practicing with it, and what seems to be happening is when she sees what she thinks is the dummy doing shit, and every so often she'll look away, and the dummy will do some shit. So one night it destroyed all of Sarah's paints. One night it graffitied the walls. She got a gig performing with the dummy at a Discovery Zone, and when she went there, the dummy attacked someone, and she ran home. And it just kind of keeps escalating, and their parents are basically thinking you are bonkers. We were going to send you to therapy, until finally Sarah admits I think your dummy is real. We're going to catch it. So they come up with this elaborate mousetrap plan to catch it, where Jed comes out dressed as Dennis and then knocks Slappy out, which is what they do. However, what they come to find out is that Jed forgot the plan, and it was actually Dennis what did save
Dennis the
family
first
from
dummy, yeah.
the dummies.
Yeah.
You have 10 seconds left.
Trans rights are human rights.
That's right. Amen.
Vaccinations are safe and effective.
Vaccines are safe and effective. Trans rights are human rights. Drink more water.
Yeah. And that's 2 seconds, 1 second, and good job. We did it, everybody.
God,
We did it.
there are so many things that I have. I mean, for sandwich in his head. There's a sandwich in his head.
So this book, it kind of tries to act like you don't even need to read the previous book.
No.
The previous book is not important. This book has no...
Actually, I think if you had read the previous book, this makes this a lesser experience.
For sure.
I gotta say, yeah. I actually think even the name makes it worse.
Yes.
Because so we read, go back into the archives for Geesebumps, and we read Night of the Living Dummy, the first one. And the one thing that we were surprised by is that Slappy is not the star.
Slappy doesn't do shit.
Slappy's not the main character of Night of the Living Dummy.
He barely does anything. He is present but does nothing. Mr. Wood is the main character, the one that's doing all the shenanigans. And then at the end, it's Slappy's alive. So I was like, oh, sweet. Now it's picking up Slappy's story. But instead, it kind of just starts with Slappy being integrated, and there's no connection to the previous book.
Nope.
So it really is sort of like R.L. Stine created the first book, was Mr. Wood, and then he was Slappy's a way better name.
Yeah, it's kind of like how they made the Conjuring movie, and you watch that, and it has all this fucking world building that there's a ghost hunting society and shit, and then the sequel is Annabelle, and you're
what?
I guess this is the same thing, but it has nothing to do with what I just watched. So what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's not even radically different. Danielle and I both thought that this book has a lot of the same trappings, obviously, as the first book. But I mean, when you got a ventriloquist as your antagonist, I get it. You can only do so much with it.
You can only do so much with it, and I think what's key here is I guess we're just kind of shooting the shit about this book because we haven't gotten into specific things yet. But
we're going to have an explanation from a special guest, but I want us to.
Well, we're interesting. I'm excited to hear it. But what's weird about this book is I think if you compare the two, it's almost in the first book. It's almost it's so fucked up. It's the characters. It's almost the same themes. It's the exact same shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's almost in this version, it's the later draft of Night of the Living Dummy 1. And what's weird is you can see that R.L. Stine there's something in this idea he really, really likes. And it's not just that it's a fucking dummy that says stupid jokes.
Yeah.
Right.
There's something in here, but like it fails spectacularly.
He's reaching for something. What it is, we don't know.
I think I got a take on it, but like, yeah, it definitely doesn't land.
Because it's also like the previous book, and instead of workshopping ideas, so it comes down to the thread of how dangerous is a ventriloquist dummy.
Ah, yes, the ancient question.
And this book,
which yes, you're right, Jeff. It is how dangerous is a ventriloquist dummy. But this is what's interesting. If that's the question we're asking, then this book has failed.
Oh, yeah, well, did we know that? That's a moot point.
Yeah.
I mean, it says so. It actually says so.
Yeah, actually, it says a few times. The main character is just like, it's just a dummy.
fucking dummy.
It's just a dummy. What am I
Can't fucking
doing?
do shit.
There's a point in the book where literally the character's fighting the dummy. It's just like, this is just a dummy. Why am I making this into such a big deal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
same with the scarecrows. Like, what are they going to do to you? Spit straw? Like, bitch, please.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, you know what? You're right, Danielle. Bitch,
Please. Yeah.
You know, but like, I don't know. We're gonna get into the heavy stuff of this book, obviously. But
Yeah.
but before we do, we need to have a roadmap.
A roadmap.
We need to have a compass to guide us
Oh,
to what this book's actual intentions are.
I don't like
And
the sound of this.
I've brought on a special guest speaker. We haven't had him on for a while because of happenings in the world. It's pretty bonkers, but I'm gonna bring out an old guest of ours, Robert Lawrence Stine.
No. Jeff, no.
Oh,
We talked about this.
okay.
Don't you remember?
No,
Fuck.
it's been months since we've seen you.
No, we just talked 5 minutes ago.
Oh, that was you?
Fuck.
That was the caterer.
Jesus Christ. What?
Yeah.
Like, what? I can't cook.
Oh God. You know what, Jeff? You were right. I really did miss having R.L. Stine on our show.
Did you? I missed Robert Lawrence.
I did.
No.
I did. Bobby himself finally causing some trouble.
I'm sorry. You're saying no. Did I get the name wrong there, RL?
Yes, you did.
What's your name, RL?
My name is Resilient Lumber Stine.
Oh, that's actually kind of good.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
Thematic.
That's actually actually thematic as well because of wood. Because we're talking about Night of the Living Dummy 2 today, but also that's what you want for your house. And really, when you're using wood in general, you want to
Yes.
have some resilient wood.
Has some resilience.
Make sure you
yeah.
treat it first.
Yeah, unless you're like one of those guys that does martial arts and they punch through the wood.
Oh, then you don't want to
punch
treat it.
through that
You
wood there.
don't want that wood to be resilient.
No, you want that wood to be very soft.
Yes. So, RL, we read Night of the Living Dummy 2.
Why?
Also known as Night of the Living Dummy Rides Again. Night of the Living Dummy. Also, the Night of the Living Dummy One More Time.
One more time. So what's this book about, RL? Because I feel like we could probably go back to the previous episode when we did Night of the Living Dummy 1 and just paste what you said then over this.
I mean, there's a. I'm exploring the human psyche,
Okay.
right? So we've got I set you up with 3 chillins. One, tiny redheaded stepchild is a bonkers asshole.
Jed, yes.
And I don't know why I went Southern, but I'm going Southern apparently. And partner. And he represents the id.
Okay.
Then we've got Sarah, the overachieving painter lady who wins a lot of prizes and
And is good at school, too.
is real good at school. And she is the super ego.
Oh.
And then you've got poor little what's her name in the middle.
Amy.
Amy, the ego. And so what I'm looking at in this book is, you know, right at that age, around 12, is when your personality starts to really sort of divide. So as you're younger, you know, you can be pure id. It's fine. No one matters. You're a child.
You can do spaghetti like a crazy person. Like
Yes, you can
You
put,
can't throw spaghetti around just however you want.
you can throw it, you can put it down your pants, you can put it into shoes. It's all good. But then you have Sarah, the super ego, because as you get older, you have to learn to regulate the id and the ego
Okay.
Right? That's a function of the superego. The superego is like the neurotic, uptight part of you,
Which is what Sarah is.
which is exactly what Sarah is.
She's pretty uptight.
And she likes to paint, and she gets lots of awards for painting because that is how adults like you to see the world. Like, they appreciate the way that she sees the world because she is essentially a forming adult superego.
She's produced something of value tangibly.
Yes, and also they just like looking at her way of seeing the world resonates with them as true.
The sweet watercolors.
That's right. Those, oh, delicious. Now, poor Amy. She has obviously come to struggle a bit with how to manage these three elements of her person. And what I like here is to slip in a little ventriloquist dummy as a stand-in for the id that she is no longer able to express herself, right? So the dummy does all of this horrible shit, runs around, ruins Sarah's painting like Amy has always wanted to do, just fuck up her shit.
Okay.
And squeeze hands.
Squeeze children's hands.
Squeeze hands.
It's definitely what Amy has wanted to do.
Squeezy hands. Squeezy hands, Amy. That's what they called her.
That's what they call her.
Until she got old.
But she wants to be able to compete as well. There's with Jed, who, you know, as the younger id, is sort of reminiscent of what she has to lose. So she's looking to sort of siphon off this side of her personality into a dummy that can't be stopped because it's a dummy with a sandwich in its head.
And you can't stop a dummy, as we found out.
And you cannot stop a dummy.
They're a lot stronger than you think.
They are quite resilient wood, if I can throw that out there.
That's right.
Resilient lumber.
That's right. That's what they are. Yep.
So the dummy is like she's sort of living out those like desires.
Yes, the dummy is. You know how the theory of poltergeist phenomenon is teenage girls who they have a sort of pent up repressed energies because of the way that society expects women to sort of internalize everything. Mm-hmm. And the theory of poltergeists is that it builds up this energy in a teenage girl, and she unconsciously manifests poltergeist activity, like moving shit or breaking things. This is the theory. You could Google it.
All girls are ghosts?
All girls are ghosts.
All girls are ghosts.
And yes, so essentially, he is like her poltergeist.
Ah.
He's the avenue of her repressed impulses.
She puts that hand up that little dummy's back and just goes off.
Oh, she puts that hand up there and it goes squish. Oh, yeah.
All right, yeah. All right. Yeah. I get it. I get it, RL. I'm so glad you're back to tell us about this.
I'm so glad you're back to give us this take that is about on par with like a high school AP English paper.
Bitch,
which I love.
you want to do what? Okay, Joe's turn. Do it.
Oh, shit. No, that's...
I think it was great.
No, that's definitely in there.
I mean, it's something.
Yeah. Well, RL, I appreciate you letting us know what this book is about, because I just thought it was about some stupid dummy.
Hey, I'm right here. You guys are really getting my goat today.
Stupid dummy. Stupid dummy.
That's Jeff. Listen, can that stay in? When you edit, Jeff, when you edit that later, could you, Danielle, tell him, Jeff, when you edit that later, could you leave when I said that in, please? Hey, guys.
Hey.
Howdy.
Hi.
All right. Well, RL, thank you for coming back to us. I know we've kept you under lock and key for the last, I don't know, like 4 or 5 episodes.
Yes, thank you for working with us, RL. We really appreciate you spending time and like showing us this wonderful look into what the structure of these characters are.
And also, fuck you for making these books.
Fuck you.
And I feel like we don't say that to you enough, because we definitely appreciate you and we think that you're great. But also, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck off. Like you're not like. It's one of those things like. We are very good friends, but like, fuck you a little bit, man. Like,
Okay, but you see, you say fuck you, but then you're handing me your dollars. So keep it up, asshole.
I did done pay him some money for these books. I did.
I have no integrity. That's true. Damn it.
I have no integrity.
All right. Well, RL, go back into the basement loft. Can you have a loft in the basement? Is it always got to be upstairs?
No, you could build a loft in the basement.
It's just like a little area in the top of the. It's a
A
raised
loft
area.
in a basement is a den.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I mean, that's like where rodents and animals when they make a little den. It's underground, but it's like it's up there. So RL, go back to your den.
Okay.
Go back to your
All
den,
right,
RL.
All right, I have a sandwich that
All right.
I'll put in my head.
Good old head cheese sandwich.
Ah, the head cheese.
All right.
Oh, the head cheese.
Well, I'm glad we got RL back. I missed him.
Glad we did.
I'm glad. I'm glad that he managed to maintain one voice for most of it.
Yes, one accent throughout.
It's a lot harder than it sounds.
It's really
honestly.
hard.
Really method.
So I will. I don't necessarily have. Well, I have some specific scenes, but this is more going to be just like a sort of very basic kind of like comparison
Okay.
between, because I want to get that out of the way, because
Sure,
we did
sure.
say it, but like
We did.
Night of the Living Dummy and Night of the Living Dummy 2, they do like, it's like, to Jeff's point, and it is like, it's still not right, but it essentially is the exact same story as Night of the Living Dummy 1, in so much as it's about a character who wants attention for having a ventriloquist dummy.
And it gets bad attention for it.
Yeah.
And they get bad attention. They get attention, but they get bad attention. And a lot of the story is them essentially saying, like, I didn't do this, the dummy did this.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Over and over. And the
over.
parents being like, bitch, you're crazy.
It's less unrealistic in the sense that in Night of the Living Dummy 1, sort of the big, like, one of the big coming to a head moments is when the kid performs with the dummy in front of like 1,000 people at a school talent show, like the Madison Square Garden of talent shows, and the dummy does a full Andrew Dice Clay
and
barfs.
And then barfs.
Which was absolutely like bonkers.
I missed that in this book.
I missed that absolute grindhouse bullshit.
Yeah, no, Mr. Wood, way cooler than Slappy.
Yeah, Slappy's more like he's more subdued.
This and they have that equivalent scene in here, but instead of it being Slap, like Mr. Wood talking a bunch of shit and barfing, it's Slappy seemingly grabbing onto a kid's hand and not letting it go, and that's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
which was creepy.
It was.
It's creepy. It's different. There's also the scene of the sort of the big reveal. They have the big reveal scene where it's like, you're my slaves.
You're my slave. You're my slaves.
Which as before was bad.
Yes.
But the final showdown, however, made more sense, where instead of taking Mr. Wood to a construction site and crushing him with a steamroller, they very casually threw Slappy against a wall and cracked his head open. Also, they also end in the exact same way, in the sense that it is revealed to you that both dummies, because she has two dummies. In the first book, they had two dummies. In the second book, they had two dummies. And just like the first book, they reveal that the second dummy was alive, but they did so in a much more subtle way, in the sense that instead of, in the first book, Slappy was the other dummy.
Yeah,
The other
yeah.
dummy.
dummy.
The other dummy.
Hey, if your man take you out on February 15th, you the other dummy.
You're the other dummy.
But at the end of Night of the Living Dummy 1, Slappy just turns to our main character and is like, "Hey, what's up?"
He's like, girl.
In this one,
stinger.
it's sort of the opposite, where they're like, "Yeah, we expected you to be here to help us," and he was like, "Oh, I wasn't here," and then they go,
Oh, shit.
"Well,
It
then
was-
who the fuck helped us?" And it's like, "Oh, it would have been Dennis would."
Oh, it was really the dummy. Oh, we can't tell the difference between a child
Right?
and a dummy.
What?
They do make it clear, like, I mean, in terms of height, it doesn't make sense, but they do make it clear, like, they see very early Dennis's head can come off, so their thought was like, oh, he'll put the head in the shirt and scare.
And Jed does that. He like dresses up as Dennis and does a goof early in the thing. So they see some stuff. This book is I guess cleaner, but there's less interesting stuff that happens.
Yeah, it's cleaner, but it's also less. It's really boring.
Well, it's also like if Night of the Living Dummy 1 were from a horror movie studio, it would be like a Blumhouse fucking boom, like with the fucking hog wild like torture porn gore. That's Night of the Living Dummy 1. Night of the Living Dummy 2, it's kind of still that, but it's trying harder to be like.
It's like, take me serious. I'm a real movie.
It's like trying to be almost like, I don't want to say it, but like The Vitch. Like it's trying to get closer to that level of very subtle, scary, unsettling horror.
Yes, it is definitely like tonally, it's The Vitch. Yeah.
I will say the only other thing I want to say from the entire meta analysis, like the big picture thing, other than that is I realized this as I was reading this. The only thing that really makes these books about children is the fact that they say school.
Yes.
If they didn't say school,
if they said work,
these are just millennials living with their parents.
Exactly.
She's literally part of the gig economy.
If she was like a streamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking my ventriloquist dummy on stream to make a few bucks on Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, like I seriously had that thought, like, you could easily turn this story into like a modern rendition and you don't really have to change anything except for that. She doesn't go to school. She goes to like community college, and there you go.
And she streams, and it's perfect.
And she
has a job of sorts almost in this, and so does her friend.
She does, Jeff. Yeah, she has gigs. Like she has jobs. She can't find anything stable because she's a millennial.
She's this gig economy, man.
I guess you know what? My friends are doing this Twitch thing. I think I'm gonna try picking up ventriloquism. You know, it's just you're your own boss. You make your own hours.
Well, you would imagine like in her room, she would have like posters of like famous ventriloquists.
Yeah.
All one of them. And
I would love, I know there's more of the dummy books, but I would love it if like one of the next protagonist who deals with Slappy is like an expert ventriloquist child, like a kid who's so into ventriloquism.
Prodigy.
Yeah, because so far like the previous kid and this kid, they're sort of like, I do ventriloquism on the side. You know, it's just sort of a thing that's extra. I want to be like, no, I want you to like be in it. And then it's more like, oh, this dummy can do things on its own. Oh, I have the potential to be the greatest ventriloquist ever, but at what cost?
Oh, dear.
cost? So do we want to start getting into like specific passages?
Yeah, let's do it.
I do have, I was looking back through it and I have a few things, mostly in the beginning, nothing really in the middle since she's grounded for the most part.
She is grounded,
There's a lot of grounded.
Danielle, do you have anything to start with? My first thing is in like chapter 4.
I do have something, but it's about chapter 7. So
Okay, I'm chapter 7.
Okay, well, I'm going to do mine then first. So fuck both of you.
All right then, easy.
This is, so there's not a lot of characters. I mean, there's the appropriate amount of characters in this book. Yeah. There's mom, dad, kids, and then there's a friend named Gloria as well.
Wait, what about Margot?
I thought her name was Margot.
Sorry, I thought it was Gloria for some reason.
That's Big City Greens.
Yeah, I know. I think that's why I've been watching a lot of Big City Greens recently. Watched a lot of everything recently. Amy has a friend named Margot, and we learn about Margot in chapter 4. It actually starts off with Margot, and it just has an interesting way. And I'm curious what your book, Jojo, you have the actual physical book, yeah?
I do.
I'm curious what your book says, because my book describes her with like a particular phrase, and I'm like, is this something they changed? So it opens up.
What is the phrase that describes you?
So chapter 4 starts off, Margot came over the next afternoon. Margot is real tiny, sort of like a mini person.
Oh,
Oh, no, that's what I got. Yeah. She has a tiny face and is very pretty with bright blue eyes and delicate features.
She's a mini person.
It just caught my eye. It was just like
she's like a little doll, you know.
She's almost like you could put a hand up her.
She's almost like a ventriloquist herself. So that was kind of my thought, as I was just like, was there going to be some sort of weird seated stuff where Margot is a ventriloquist dummy?
That would be so fucking good.
They definitely kind of hint at it, but it's sort of just like, I guess it's sort of just like, that's kind of how she sees almost everything. That Amy, I don't know. It was just a weird way to describe.
I see ventriloquist dolls everywhere.
But no, for sure, that's a super weird way to describe. This is a tiny.
Yeah,
person.
she sees a tiny person.
She's so cute and doll-like.
She's pretty. She's doll-like. Everyone, the boys make fun of her soft, whispery voice. She loves the Beatles.
Loves
the Beatles. So I imagine they kept the Beatles the same for yours as well.
She did keep the Beatles on
Yes.
there. I mean, well, they could have updated it to Bruno Mars, but they didn't.
They didn't do that because they were
Beatles
cowards.
are classic.
Beatles are classic, and
Bruno Mars will be classic.
This whole chapter 4, there's just all these little details regarding Margot that I'm just like, you were really trying to build something, but like you kind of fell a little short. So we got Margot, who is a mini person, much like a mini horse.
Yes. Much like a tiny horse.
Let me just. I think you know what you're getting into here, Jeff, and I don't want to step on your toes,
Right.
but can I just say that like the conversation that Margot and Amy have here is so fucking far beyond what 12-year-olds
Oh, seriously.
It is absolutely fucking hog wild.
I mean, I think it's kind of worth maybe reading some of it because
Yeah. This whole chapter 4, there's a few things that we should like discuss in it. So please go ahead, Jojo.
Here we go. This is page 21, chapter 4. If you're on the physical book, page 21. My dad almost didn't let me come over, Margot told me. He thought he might need me to work at the restaurant. Margot's dad owns a huge restaurant downtown called the Party House. It's not really a restaurant. It's a big old house with enormous rooms where kids can hold parties.
sounds amazing.
And then a song comes on, Love Me Do, and she's like, I love this song, and she exclaims, and she, along with for a while, like they should be drinking.
Yeah,
they should be getting day drunk right now. I tried singing with her, but I'm totally tone deaf, as my dad says. I can't carry two in a wheelbarrow.
That's a good phrase.
That's an important note. And then she goes, this is so fucking weird. Amy, a 12-year-old, says, I'm really glad you didn't have to work today.
Dad have to go to the grindstone.
Margot's like, me too. Dad always gives me the worst jobs, clearing tables or putting away dishes,
the grind.
wrapping garbage. And then she started singing again. And then she goes, and this is the part where you can tell she should be taking a drink of something. She goes, Amy, I almost forgot.
Or they're sharing a joint, and they're just hanging out after school.
Yeah, or something. And she goes, my dad may have a job for you. And she's like, wrapping garbage. I don't think she's like, no, like a gig. And it's like the way they're talking and like this situation is like, this is fucking wild.
It's weird. It
feels almost like R.L. Stine had this story about like young adults, like people in their 20s, and he kind of just retconned it to make it fit this scenario because just the way they talk and the things they're doing do not fit at all.
And it's weird because like they're kids, and she's like, I have this job. I hate doing all these. Because the thing that I had highlighted where she's like, me too. Dad always gives me the worst jobs, cleaning tables, putting away dishes. You're 12. What jobs are you going to do at this place aside from these basic jobs? She's like, usually I'm supervising the staff there,
Yeah, usually they put me on training. Sometimes they let me come up with the decor in the place. Like I got to build like an escape room once, but no, it's just, it's so, and this was what made me originally think like, these are millennials.
Yeah.
Like these are millennials now. These are us.
No, it's the whole thing is like just two working girls hanging out in Amy's room after
blowing off steam.
A long day.
Just two like they're in their mid-20s, they're out of college, like shit's not.
They had to move back home. They're living
100% working. They had to move back home.
Yep.
They're hanging out, they're drinking, and then she's like, oh, my dad might have a gig for you. That was also what threw me, because it's like, even if that were true, just for the sake of argument that this grown adult was like, I have a party coming up, I need to get some entertainment for it. I need to go get a professional.
Margot, who's your friend?
To entertain these kids. It is the height of nonsense that he would go, Margot, you're 12. Do you have a 12-year-old friend who is a ventriloquist?
All right,
correct?
Margot, Amy, this is a bringer. You can come and do the ventriloquist show, but you got to bring 10 people with you. You're going to get the proceeds. We'll give you $50 afterwards.
It's like the only way that makes sense, like logically, is if they are older. It does not make sense. Because like, even if this were true that he wanted to hire her, he wouldn't tell his kid. He would talk to her parents.
Yes.
Also, I had this also highlighted where it's called the party house, which I'm like, that sounds like a bar, or it sounds like
it sounds like, yeah. Thank you, Jeff. I was like, that does not sound like a thing for kids. That sounds like if I was an adult, I'd be like, oh, the party house, that's cute.
Yeah.
Right? That sounds like a frat house.
That sounds like a house where they like turned it into like you do comedy here, and they have open mics here, and they have like music night here, and it's like one of those cool coffee bars, but you could drink there.
I want to know more about this party house.
Hey, this fall on the CW.
Party house.
Right? Party house. Let's manifest.
2 young girls move back after having to drop out of college due to the happenings in the world. What are they going to do with their future? Well, one of them just inherited a big old house with a whole lot of rooms.
With a horrible secret.
And a terrible.
Their only catch to making this business run, they have to take orders from a ventriloquist dummy.
Oh, shit.
This summer. I guess I said fall earlier.
But yeah, the whole Margot introduction is so weird. It's
absolutely hogwash. I mean, like, it did make me think of these. You know what's weird is this made me think of all the Goosebumps books in a different way.
Really?
I will say that. Just on the grounds of like, because that was like that's a common thing that we do to these books is like we say like, oh, yeah, like that's almost like a pass we give them, right? We're oh, these experiences, what these characters are going through, it doesn't make sense, but they are kids.
Exactly.
But then you think about it and you're like, no, they just don't make sense. And it's because they're kids that they don't make sense. They would make more sense if these were adults and we live in the world where they totally could be.
Yeah.
It would also be scarier if like the ventriloquist dummy things were happening and it was an adult who was possibly doing it as opposed to a child.
Yes, and that gets into my things, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt, Jeff. What else you got from chapter 4? There's a lot of great stuff here.
So and I like this chapter also with the Margot thing because it reminds me of previous Goosebumps books where there's just like in like completely weird details that just get thrown in and you're just supposed to be like, oh yeah, the party house. Oh yeah, she's a tiny person. Cool.
Duh.
The next thing I have before we get to chapter 7 where you guys have stuff is something that I think we all would like to talk about.
Okay.
And that's in chapter 5.
Okay.
It's about second page of chapter 5. I'd have weird names in this, but chapter 5 is Dad brings home Slappy the dummy.
This is the fan service part of the book.
Yeah.
There's also a line in here that I'm going to have to point out.
I know which line you're talking about, Danielle, and I'm going to let you
wait. Before we go on, Danielle, known asexual deviant, we'll find something gross in here. Jeff, what would you like to point out, please?
So in chapter 5, she gets Slappy the dummy.
It's the first fucking line of the chapter, isn't it, Danielle?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Well, it should have been, you idiot.
It's a little bit in.
Hey, Joe. You have your own little field of deviance over there.
Oh, fuck. God damn it, Danielle. Danielle, I just got listen, Danielle, this sounds really weird. I just got a text message from you and it just says checkmate. What happened?
Yeah. It says checkmate and then it drops the mic.
So Slappy, they get Slappy. Dad and Amy are looking over Slappy. It's a big old present for her because her other dummy, his head falls off all the time. And she does what you do when you get a new dummy is she sticks her hand right up in that dummy, right up inside of his guts.
Right up in
And actually, it's right at the end of chapter 4, going into chapter 5. She says, I slowly moved my hand up inside the dummy's back, through the neck and into his head. I stopped and let out a startled cry as my hand hit something soft and warm. His brain! And then chapter 5, I uttered a sick moan and I jerked my hand out as fast as I could. I could still feel the soft, warm mush on my fingers. Dad, Amy, what's wrong? His brains, I choked out. And then Dad puts his hand up in there. He struggled with something and he pulled it out. Yuck, I groaned. What's that? Dad stared down at the mushy green and purple and brown object in his hand. Looks like someone left a sandwich in there. He exclaimed.
What?
Dad's whole face twisted in disgust. It's all moldy and rotten. Must have been in there for months.
This is why I want to know about this pawn shop owner.
And then he says, and then she's like, oh, it stinks. Why would there be a sandwich in the dummy's head? And he says, beats me. And then he says, and it looks like there are wormholes in it. Yeah, we both cried in unison. And then it's like a page of them trying to clean out. So a weird, like a weird thing. They're like, okay, a gross out. There's a sandwich up in this dummy's head, which
makes complete sense.
Which they describe in almost like a fetish kind of way.
It is very sensual.
It is very like you could taste it and you could feel it when reading it. They made it very like tangible. But But the thing that's weird, and this is going to kind of point to one, it's just a weird chapter where the entire chapter is dealing with the sandwich situation inside the dummy's head.
Put that on your tombstone.
Is they said there's wormholes in it, right?
Yes.
They're like, oh, there's wormholes in this
Like
sandwich.
a worm ate it.
Like a worm was making little holes in it.
Oh,
like Richard Scarry.
time travel, right?
Wormholes, yes,
Yeah.
Danielle.
You go through the sandwich.
It's a pretty timey-wimey snack. Jeff, you ever had a sandwich?
Jeremy Bearimy and whatnot. Yeah.
Yes, Jeff. Jeff, I want you to understand that reality is a series of layers. Bread, meat, and
Cheese?
time.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's they put that in there. You're just like gross, nasty, right? However, and I'm pointing this to something that happens way later in the book, which we can, I'm not going to try and get into too much.
So you're
of
saying there's a bit of a parallel motif here.
No, there's a bit
of gross sandwiches and dummy heads.
I think it's something that R.L. Stine has sort of tried to change the lore of Slappy a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The one book's worth of lore he's
Yes,
already established.
yes.
Go on.
So in the previous book, when Mr. Wood got smushed, a green cloud arose from his dead dummy body, a big fart, right?
Big fart.
At the end of this book, Mr. Slappy, not Mr. Slappy. Mr. Slappy's his father's name. Just call him Slappy. Slappy gets his head cracked open.
In a very graphic way.
In a very graphic way. And do you remember what happens after his head gets cracked open?
Something crawls out of there.
Something crawls out of there. Do you remember what that was?
Big old worm.
A big old worm, y'all.
That's the real villain. Fucking worm.
So my question to you is this dummy alive, or was it just a really mean worm inside of it?
Yeah, I think it was a mean worm. I think that worm was just like, you know what? You guys took my sandwich. Now I'm gonna fucking take everything you love.
So you're thinking so your thing, Jeff, is is the dummy really possessed, or is it sort of like a body horror? There's an evil worm,
yes.
like the Krang.
There's
controlling.
There's another ventriloquist inside the dummy.
There was already this dummy's taken, bub.
The real ventriloquist is inside. The call's coming from inside the dummy.
Oh,
no.
shit.
But that was weird because I saw that and it was like that whole scene's gross. And Danielle, I'll let you say your line from that scene in just a minute.
Okay.
But at the end of the book, they're like, oh, there was a worm inside and it ran away after the head cracked open. And I was like, are we supposed to think that the worm inside was eating the sandwich in his head? Like he was like, God, I've been at this pawn shop for a while and I'm really hungry. This pawn shop owner's got a sandwich over here.
There is a bunch of lore about how did the sandwich get in there.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't have just fallen in.
No.
Someone had to with
someone
intent
shoved
put it
a
in
sandwich
Someone
up
had
in
to
his head.
shove a sandwich, or that worm had to go out of the dummy and grab a sandwich and pull it in.
Yes.
Because these are the two scenarios, right? Let's assume this. I'm going to just assume the worm can't do that, because if the worm could do that, it doesn't really need the dummy in order to take actions.
True.
But there's two scenarios. Either the person put the sandwich in there for the worm,
Right.
Yeah.
To appease the worm.
A slave.
Yes. That's right.
or then this is the less likely, but also equally weird scenario. Someone just put a sandwich in a dummy and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
There's someone out there who's just like, where's my...
Where'd I put that
Where
fucking
the
sandwich?
fuck did I put that sandwich?
And if you're going to lose a sandwich inside of a dummy's head, that's the least of your problems. Where's my car keys?
Uh-huh.
Where's
Dude, where's my car
wallet?
keys?
Dude, where's my car keys? Yeah. No, I mean...
So, and also the question being that do you have to take a months old, moldy, disgusting sandwich out of the dummy's head before you can smell it being there?
Right. That was also my question, because...
You know what's weird, Jeff, is... Yeah, I did have that question too, but I was like, there's already so much fucking weird stuff in here.
Right,
I don't
it's
have time for that
Yeah.
right now. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but that was just noise to me. I was like...
At that point, it's like...
I know that thought is really important and makes no fucking sense, but I have a lot of other things
Yes.
to deal with just here.
There's a lot to take in.
When I read that sandwich part, I get gaggy.
Yeah, it's gross.
It is really gross. It is really, to me, rotten food is a weird, gross thing. Just imagine sticking your hand into a place
to
that you think is
everyone,
safe.
Jeff.
Yeah. God. Well, I mean, I get gaggy in real life too, but imagine that scene. You're you got a brand new dummy. You're sticking your hand up there. You're going to make his mouth move and eyes wiggle, and all of a sudden,
Hey, Slappy with that mouth.
What that mouth do?
Slappy, that's not the way that you eat a sandwich. You eat it with your mouth. That's gross. All right, Danielle, do you want to say the line that's like a page after this?
Hey, everybody, if you want to go ahead and just skip ahead like 30 seconds, it's cool.
I had this highlighted too because I was also just like, really?
Danielle's going to say this?
No, I was like, one, Danielle's going to say this. Two, I need to be prepared. And three, it does stand out as just being like a weird line.
It really does.
Watch, it's going to be a different line than I think Danielle's going to read.
Now, Danielle, we can't guess. Danielle, go ahead and read.
Okay.
It's in chapter 5, correct?
It is.
Okay, yeah. I'll tell you what page it's on at the end. So go ahead, Danielle.
Okay.
Chapter 5 is like 2 pages.
Okay, so they're examining the dummy, and she's unbuttoning his suit jacket and studying his painted shirt. Weird. But that's not the point. The point is that she says, "Everything looks fine, Dad." And then he nodded. Then he smelled his fingers. Because he hadn't washed away all the stink of the rotten sandwich. Like, oh, tuna fish, huh?
That's what.
I did have that.
We all had that highlighted.
It's because I'm 15. and
Right?
Deep down, in my
Mentally,
soul.
I'm still 12.
My sense of humor didn't really get that much past that.
It is like, of all the things, aside from being like, obviously like a small nephews, it's like, why would you do that?
What?
That's so gross.
Seriously, he's just like, he's fingering this rotten sandwich and then he fucking smells his fingers.
You just two in the pink, one in the stink to this dummy's back, and now you're.
Yeah, and then all in the nose. Ugh.
It's very like.
It's like when you itch your butt and then you smell your finger for some reason.
Yeah, it's like it's like you stuck your finger up
Very
your butt a
much
little
so.
bit and then you sniffed it.
And then they're like, we better spray with disinfectant or perfume. I'm like, no, spray with disinfectant.
No,
Gross.
Yeah,
perfume
disinfect
is
it.
great. I mean, rotten sandwich plus perfume equals mwah.
Mwah. But yeah, so I knew that was a line you had, Danielle. And then also that chapter just ends with her saying the magic words again.
Yeah.
And then she looks down and sees the dummy.
It winked at her. So now he's alive, and so is Dennis apparently.
Yeah.
Dummy's alive.
We don't know that yet, though.
But hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it was still Jed. Maybe there was no Dennis.
Maybe there was no book.
Yeah.
Oh God, I wish.
So that's what I had prior to your chapter 7.
Yeah. So Danielle, what do you got in chapter 7?
Okay, so I have the failed Andrew Dice Clay.
Right. Which
that's
we have to you have to go do that. Yeah.
That's very good.
I also have something from chapter 7 that's not that.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, Joe, do you have was that what you had in chapter 7 too?
No, my thing is a little more bigger.
More bigger.
Is it?
Okay.
It's something more complicated
Okay.
Okay.
from chapter 7. Let me just say that what happens in chapter 7 is what made me think that this book was more complicated.
This is what fooled Joe.
Yeah, so this is how R.L. Stine finally fooled Joe.
No, Danielle, I think it is trying to be. I think what happens is it revealed its mysteries to me, and then when I pursued them further, I realized, oh, you weren't ready, dog. You weren't ready for this one. I know I could tell what you were trying to do, but you weren't ready for this one.
You weren't ready for the stage, man.
Well, the only thing that I had in there was the story that the mom tells about working at the fancy women's clothing store downtown.
Such a weird detail, and it's very inappropriate and feeds into the Andrew Dice Clay.
So yeah, so much like every single R.L. Stine book, there is fat shaming to some degree.
Oh, so much. There's a lot of it.
So
in
here,
this chapter.
so that's on page 37 in chapter 5. She says, or chapter 7. I'm sorry. My anger faded away. By the time we started family sharing night, we settled into the living room, taking our usual places. She told a funny story about something that happened at work. Mom works at a fancy women's clothing store downtown, and she told us about a really big woman who came into the store and insisted on trying on only tiny sizes. The woman ripped every piece of clothing she tried on and then bought them all. They're not for me, she explained. They're for my sister. We all laughed, but I'm surprised Mom told the story because Mom's pretty chubby. And she's very sensitive about it.
Why is that in there?
What is that
Why
story?
is this here?
Why is it there? Because we get the fat shaming in a little bit anyways.
Yeah, we don't need extra fat shaming.
But like the story, aside from not being funny,
Yeah,
like,
it's just bizarre.
it is the strangest story of lore building for this mom.
Yeah,
And also like casting judgment for It's like 2 degrees of separation. Like, yeah, she hates fat people, but she's fat. She should be ashamed of herself. Also.
She's self-hating. Oh,
Like-
it's like that.
It was almost kind of like Amy was like, "This is weird that Mom told us this story because
Mom's fat too.
she's
fat."
Like,
so
Jesus,
weird.
dude. What the fuck?
What a fucking brutal takedown.
Which makes me think Ara was right about like Amy just wants to say that shit to
Right?
Mom,
Amy
and she's
just
about
wants to get it off. She's got this stuff repressed in her head.
she needs a vehicle. She
Yeah.
just needs to put gas in it, and that gas is her hand up that dummy's fucking back.
That's right.
Is that? Was there soup? Danielle, was there soup in this one?
No, there's no soup. There's no soup.
Man, R.L. Stine is showing some restraint, I gotta say.
All right, so that's just what I wanted to like pop
That's
in.
really
there.
that's really incredible.
It's so weird.
Danielle, what do you got from here?
Okay, so I want us to remember the Andrew Dice Clay bit from the first book in which Mr. Wood fucking took the Mickey out of all these old people,
Yeah.
their neighbors, their
Roasted
parents.
them.
Just really roasted them.
Roasted them. Call the burn
hard.
squad.
In the previous book, there was no family sharing night. It was simply the character like doing ventriloquist stuff, and they brought over Grandma and Grandpa from next
He had
door.
a hot 10 at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, you get your tight 5 with it. I get 5 and the dummy gets 5, so it's 10 total.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Makes sense. Adds up.
I tried to not run the light, but the dummy kept talking. What am I supposed to do?
The crowd was loving it. What can I say? So that's on page 38.
We should all get to do one of his Andrew Dice Clay lines because we all like saying.
Okay, I'll do. I'll do the last one. I'll do a third one.
Okay.
So Danielle, pick one of the Andrew Dice-isms that Slappy hits us with.
I'm gonna go with the.
There's so many tasty options here. It's like a smorgasbord
It
of
really
fun
is.
things.
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to start it off, Danielle, with the first one? Do you want to take the one after that, or do you want to do the first one?
You can do the first one.
Okay. So they're doing family share night, which is the obvious vehicle for her having Slappy fucking rip into everybody. So like the previous book, Slappy can't be stopped.
Nope.
Comedy's on the line. And she's trying to do some knock-knock jokes, and she's like, "Knock, knock," I said. "Knock it off," came the harsh reply. Slappy spun around to
Walk
face
it
me.
in.
"Hey, don't break the sofa, fatso," he rasped. "Why don't you skip the fridge fries and have a salad once in a while?" Oh!
And then for 5 minutes, the rest of the family laughed until they peed themselves.
It's funnier than the fucking story the
so
mom told.
Fucking funny.
Okay, and then the second
Danielle, you want to
joke.
get this next one?
Yeah.
This next one's good.
It's about the dad.
Dad is like, Amy, that's not funny. And he's like, what's your problem, Baldy? Slappy shouted. Is that your head? Or did you have a... What? Or are you hatching an ostrich egg on your neck? I messed that up. Let me do it again. What's your problem, Baldy? Is that your head? Or are you hatching an ostrich egg on your neck? What is that accent? Doesn't matter. Oh!
Now I'm gonna do these last two because they're very significant. This is the whole time this is happening. By the way, Slappy is just these fucking brutal like mask off takedowns of this family.
Oh yeah, no mercy.
And then Amy is the whole time like trying to say she's not doing it. And then Slappy screams, "Why don't you put an extra hole in your head and use it as a bowling ball?" Oh!
Strike!
Oh, fuck, Jeff. That's so good.
Never mind, you're a turkey. Oh!
Oh!
Jesus, Jeff, fucking slow down. Leave some of the show
bowling.
for the rest of
So
us.
good.
Fuck. God damn it. Can we just take a second, please?
Fuck.
The mom is upset that the jokes are hurtful and insulting. And then and this is my fucking favorite part of this book, by the way.
Oh.
Is she goes, "It wasn't me, it was Slappy, really. I wasn't saying. I wasn't." And then there is, I swear to God, if this was a movie, they would put like a 5-second just completely still pause.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then someone would be like, "Did I mention y'all ugly?"
And it ends the chapter.
But then it's just like hard cut to the next day. Just hard cut. Like we don't even see the aftermath.
No fade
of that.
out, no transition,
So
nothing.
fucking like I was like, oh, and the chapter ends there. I got chills. I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted. The next scene though is really weird in the context of the rest of this book, because what happens is her dad goes like, you're a wonderful. He says, Amy, we're not going to believe you. You're a wonderful storyteller. You make up wonderful fantasies and fairy tales, but we're not going to believe this. I'm sorry. We're going to believe that your dummy. We're not going to believe that your dummy spoke on his own. And she's like, but he did. And then he goes, no, he didn't. And then there's like a pause. There's like this really weird pause. That's like, it's like strange comparatively.
Okay.
Because she gives up on trying to convince them.
Immediately. Yeah.
And then she goes, in a very like weirdly vulnerable way. She's like, sorry, I'm really sorry. In the way that you would do if like,
you were older and more mature, and you knew that this wasn't a fight you were going to win. Like
you knew to pick your battles. And
Yeah.
you knew
like
that
a kid would have kept fighting.
Oh, a kid would just go forever.
and she does later on. Like she definitely like does the whole like it was me, it wasn't me. But
that's what's really weird though is she's convinced that Slappy is alive.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And Slappy is doing these terrible things to everybody. But at the same time, and this is what was so interesting about chapter 7 when she makes fun of her mom for being fat. She makes fun of her dad for being bald. They're like low-hanging fruit.
Yep.
But it's that kind of thing of like, why did she just think of it in that hurtful way and then Slappy does it?
Exactly.
So it's almost like that's what I'm saying. Like this book was almost very good is because it sets up all these things where Slappy being alive is something we brought to this.
Right. Yeah.
There really isn't a lot in here that says he's alive.
No.
It could have been, that would have been the best twist is it wasn't, he's not alive.
Yeah, she really
Because then what it's about, and this is why I said this was almost a good book, because then what it's about is this person who is like, because we know this from the start, she does not feel like she is good enough to be in this family.
But she consistently like pushes that away because she admits to it, and then she's sort of like it's like she has two personalities.
It's like she's unwilling, and they kind of make it like she makes up stories which are essentially she lies, and she does ventriloquism, which is like it's essentially the things that she does in order to be entertaining to her family are things that hide herself.
Yes. That's very true.
So she doesn't say how she feels or how she thinks. And then she gets this new dummy, and the dummy says the things that she thinks and does the things that she wants to do.
That's right.
It's like the haunted mask a little bit. Like
it's like the haunted mask a little bit, yeah. And it's very much like there's the part where it's like, oh, she scrawled aim. Like there's a part later where this is like a big horror moment, I guess, but like. And actually, this would be really scary if you didn't know the dummy was real. But there's this part later where she goes into Sarah's room and someone had scrawled Amy on the wall.
yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah, if my sister had done that, I would imagine that she was about to kill me.
That was like a Black Swan type of situation.
It's fucking really weird. And actually, I think right before that, there was a part where like it was very much like They had a line where like she laid down and was sleepy, but she couldn't stop thinking about Slappy, and then the paragraph ends, and it's like, so did she fall asleep? Like, is she dreaming as this happened? Like, what's happening? But the idea is sort of like she doesn't like her sister.
No.
She doesn't like her parents.
Nope.
Like the idea that she wouldn't do these things isn't true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
no, 'cause
would.
You could totally believe that she would.
And they don't build into that enough to make it more present because even at the beginning with like, oh, she tells stories at family sharing. She never does.
Yeah. I mean, like Jeff said, this could have been Black Swan.
Yeah.
Very easily.
This could have been really like it could have just been all in her head. It could have been her, which would be more interesting. But then you got to take Slappy to Night of the Living Dummy number 3 and number 4.
We got to get Slappy to number 3. We don't know how we're going to do it yet if this is the direction we're going.
It is hard once you write yourself into a sign of a psychological corner.
It is. I mean, obviously it's the way that you're kind of explaining it is giving the book more credit in what it could have been.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying, right? Because
could have been.
if the book is just about spooky doll, Because ultimately, Slappy stories are about Spooky Doll.
Spooky Doll.
That's the thing that's what that's what's on the tin.
Yeah,
what's
that's
on the
what we
tin
got.
is Spooky Doll.
That's the marquee.
If it's just about Spooky Doll, then there's only a couple of ways you can make something meaningful out of that. And it very much seemed like this was the way they were choosing. Or RL was, I don't know why I said they. RL was, it felt like that's what he was trying to do here. He wanted to make a story, essentially a psychological horror like character study about a kid who didn't feel they belonged in their family.
Right.
Which is a very weird and very interesting idea.
It would have been very uncomfortable. It would have been really, really like troubling.
God, this book. Oh my God, this book could be. It's still not
you
good.
see why I got so mad?
I did. I see it now, Joe. I see you read between the lines. I see
You did.
what you said, and then also with Danielle's sexual deviance, bringing in that adult theme as well.
Danielle's sexual deviance is in there still. It's all, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, Danielle's like a truffle pig of sex stuff in kids' books. Like, she can just kind of sniff it out.
I'll sniff your fingers. I'll do it. Do you want to know what this truffle pig sniffed out?
Oh God.
What'd you sniff out?
Here's Danielle's horny corner.
What'd you sniff out, you sick freak?
You know what? Let's just, instead of fighting her on it, Joe, let's just give her a platform.
Lean in, man.
All right, Danielle, tell us where's your sick fucking content?
This is chapter 14. And
Yeah, give us this fucking depraved content that our fans
that we crave. Yes. So I pointed, this is just the very beginning of chapter 14.
Oh, I think I see what you're going to say.
Oh, fuck you, Danielle, you fucking piece of shit. You fucking asshole.
I didn't clock it, but then I put on the Danielle goggles and I
God
did.
damn it.
We'll make it a game. We'll make it like a game for our listeners. It's like if you
It's like
can
an
find,
ARG.
you can
Hey,
find.
listen, if you just tweet at Geesebumps_pod, like, I think this is a line that Danielle will say in a gross way.
Yep, and I will do it. I will do
Tweet
it.
at Mom Hat Studios.
Yep. I pointed triumphantly at Slappy. See?
Slappy, there's just been another paint incursion.
There's been a
in
paint
Sarah's
incident, yes. And the dummy sat cross-legged on the closet floor. His head stood erect on his narrow shoulders. He appeared to grin up at us. Slappy's left hand rested on the closet floor. His right hand was in his lap.
Fuck you, Danielle.
In his right hand, he clutched a fat paintbrush.
Fucking chode of a paintbrush.
Fucking
Gripping that, grip on that fucking
God,
fat
God,
Slappy
paintbrush.
has a chode.
He's just hanging onto that hog.
Looking up, smiling at you because he knows you. You knows you like.
He's like, you like this, don't you? Yeah. Well,
I'm really glad. The next line is the line that I'm going to stop Danielle at because it goes, the bristles on the brush were caked with red paint. And can I say, I appreciate the restraint because it could have easily been white paint.
yes.
Well,
or
red paint is just like,
red paint
hey,
is just like period sex.
yeah, it's just
He's
like
on his period.
Hey,
Yeah, you know what, Danielle? It is just like that. Oh, Danielle, you sick freak.
yeah, Slappy, just fucking pervert.
He's
doll.
come on. He's
So,
obviously
do
a
we
pervert.
want to do the big finale, the last couple chapters?
Yes, but there's one thing I want to bring up real quick.
okay.
And it's a very small thing, but I think it's the first time we see it ever happen in a Goosebumps book.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is it?
So it's the very end of chapter 15.
okay.
It's like the last page of chapter 15. She's in bed, Amy is, and she's trying to stay alert so she can catch Slappy in the act. She says, I raised my head, instantly alert, and listened to scrape of feet on my carpet, a soft rustling, a shiver of fear ran down my back. I felt goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Is this the first time in any of these books that...
Did I miss that? Wait a minute.
Yeah. I didn't.
Is this after she must have drifted asleep?
Yeah, it's after that. It's literally like the last...
Son
like-
of a gun.
Is that the first time that we've seen Goosebumps in... I feel like we would have clocked it before.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time
Weird.
that we've seen them actually do the name of the book in the book, which would be an easy thing because Goosebumps is like attributed to fear and spookiness and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's like there was a lot of restraint, and I don't feel like I've ever seen that before. Now that you pointed out,
I feel like we would have noticed it. We would have done this, what we're doing right now, which is, oh shit, the name of the thing. It's like that thing of Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV.
Now, what would have really gotten me is if they said Geesebumps.
That would have really done
That
it
would
for me.
have really fucked
Ooh,
me
that
up.
would have blown my
It
mind.
really would have gotten me if they would have said R.L. Stine presents classic Goosebumps, Night of the
I
Living
felt
Dummy
R.L.
2.
Stein's classic kid series Goosebumps run up and down my arms. I'd be like, it's a weird ad.
Is there one more thing I can bring up? I just
Yeah.
This is end of chapter 16. This is just the description of what it looks like when Slappy.
Oh, yeah, I have that highlighted too.
Because
Yeah,
it's wild.
that to me is the start of the conclusion. That's the start of the climax of this
Okay,
book.
good. This will be a good intro to it.
Perfect. Okay. Even in the night blackness, I could see his large, rounded head. I watched his skinny arms dangle at his sides, the wooden hands bobbing as he moved.
It's me when I get ice cream in the middle of the night.
The heavy leather shoes slid over my carpet. No comment. The thick, boneless legs nearly collapsed with each shuffling step. Okay, so he's like shuffling, but also in like an unsteady way. So like drunk.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
drunk
he
shuffle?
does look like a drunk child. That's what I picture.
Yeah. And like a scarecrow, I thought, gripped with horror. He walks like a scarecrow because he has no bones. No bones at all. This is news to me.
What page is this? What chapter is
This
this?
is the last page of chapter 16, and I had this highlighted too because
Oh my god!
she makes allusions to scarecrows like it's a thing in this book, like, or it's a common thing to be like, you know, it doesn't have bones.
Scarecrows.
Scarecrow.
You know what walks like it doesn't have bones?
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
You know what also walks like it doesn't have bones is also this dummy, apparently.
Peering into the light, I watched Slappy pull himself silently towards Sarah's room. The big shoes shuffled along the carpet. Slappy's body bobbed and bent. The big wooden hands nearly dragged along the floor.
How big is this fucking dummy?
Seriously, so
Bigger
he's like
than you think, huh?
Yeah,
like
apparently.
knuckle dragging drunk shuffler.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know. In my head, I can see a dummy moving around, and the way they describe it is not exactly how I would picture it.
No,
It's not really scary. It's kind of like you wanted to do that thing where like you watch a thing move and it moves unnaturally.
Yes.
But but there's like, I don't want to say he didn't have the vocabulary to do it, but he just
didn't.
made bad choices.
Yeah.
Yes, like because it comes off as comedic rather than unsettling.
It also comes off as lethargic. Like it should have been like the like if it was me, right? It'd be like his arms jerked, unnaturally as he crawled his way across.
Bent at weird angles.
Yeah,
Like
he's a dummy. He doesn't have to like move like a person. He doesn't have
or
bones.
even more like she can't see it, but she can like hear it.
Yeah, that'd be
You know?
What if he walked like he was being invisibly puppeteered? So his
That would be cool.
That would be creepy. Like he has strings attached to him, sort of.
Yeah.
Still, Ooh,
Yeah.
creepy. Yeah. So that
that's
what
bad.
could have been. Thank
what
you.
could have been, alas, R.I.P.
So like I said, get the end of chapter 18 and that's fun. Like that, this is why this is the climax, because like this is either like the confirmation that Slappy is real or the confirmation that she has completely lost her mind.
Yes.
And that's when Slappy just turns to her and starts talking to her.
Yeah,
and he
says
says
the same dumb shit.
The dumbest shit. Okay, he goes, at the end of chapter 18, page 97, as I turned in shock, the closet door swung open. Slappy stepped out. He slumped forward and stopped a few feet in front of me. This would be that scene where like she's backing up and she like falls down, and in terror she can't stand up, and then Slappy is just slowly crawling toward her, and then its eyes like pop up, and then Amy, he rasped, "It's time you and I had a little talk."
And I was like, oh, is this going to get interesting?
Yeah, are we going to have some sort of deal made here?
That's what it's weird you say that, because that's what you want to happen. Because that's what feels like it should happen.
They make him too stupid is the problem.
Well, not even that he's stupid. This is where its connection to the first book, like, more than anything is what derails this.
Yeah.
Because this point in the first book was stupid, but it was stupid in a way that was consistent.
Yes.
In this book, it's stupid in a way that like destroys the story. Because what he says is, Amy, you are now my slave.
Congratulations!
You read the ancient words, brought me to life. You'll do everything I ask. No, please. He goes, yes, Amy, you're my slave now, my slave forever. And she's like, I won't.
Why? Okay, I have a question. Okay, so there's a little sticky note with the words she reads, right? And this dummy is saying, you read the words, therefore you are my slave. That's obviously not true.
Exactly.
No.
I'm like, so why
is
do
he
you,
just lying or does he not
first
know?
of all, why slave? Second of all, like, why? Yeah, these words they're not going to put her into servitude.
And Slappy goes like, I'll keep on destroying things. Maybe I'll start wrecking your brother's things and you'll get blamed for it all. And she's like, stop. And she's like, your parents already think you're crazy. And she's like, stop. What do you think they'll do to you, Amy? And she's like, you can't. And she's like, and so he's basically saying like, I will make things worse for you if you don't do everything I say.
That's right.
Which, when you think about it from like the perspective of someone who is really trying to convince someone to work with them, Slappy has taken the worst possible bargaining position.
He needs to be less of what he is and more Wolf of Wall Street in this situation.
Yeah,
he kind of needs to be coming at her with the opposite way of like...
He needs to give her something to like a deal.
It's basically like he needs to be making that sort of like a Faustian deal. Like, hasn't it been great?
Right? Like
all these things I've been doing. And then she'd be like, no, it hasn't. He's like, yes, it has. You hate your sister. You hate your parents. It's all you think about. I've helped you achieve these. Look at these things we've done. Like,
I'm doing
in
this
these
for
couple
you.
of he could literally say like, in these past few weeks, you have been more honest than you have like your whole life. How fucking great is that been?
Right?
Your parents are showing more concern for you than the other kids right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then he'd be like, and look what happened. The moment you started being honest through me, everyone started paying attention to you and caring about you. How would you like more of that?
And look at how your sister looks like a fool.
Yeah, your sister looks like a fool. Your brother looks like an idiot. And now here you are, like, everyone respects you and is afraid of you because you're being honest through me. This is why I was so mad, is because, like, this is such an obvious thing to do.
Right? It seems like that's what it wanted to do. It seemed like it was being deliberate. But
it seemed like it wanted to have Slappy show up and not be the fucking stupid, you're my slave now bully character. He wanted to show up and be like, hey, so like, let's make this official. You know, like that kind of a deal. You've already been doing it. It's already been great. Let's make this official. And then what would happen is she would say, I need to think about it. And then she would have like her family would do something nice for her, and she would realize, okay, we have to stop the dummy. I don't know what I was thinking. Like maybe I am crazy, maybe I'm not, but I know the dummy's part of it, and I don't want it anymore.
Yeah,
you know that's how this should have progressed.
and I mean that has a moral to it. That has like a nice circular sort of.
Yeah, she learns something at the end.
Yeah.
Like she grows. There's growth.
There's growth.
There would be growth then.
Yeah.
Instead,
Nothing.
we got it. And I know what I've been saying sounds cool, but that's not what this book had in it.
Nope.
Literally, what happens is,
Let's have a fist fight with a doll.
let's have a fist fight first, and then she finds out that Sarah knew
Yes.
Slappy
this
was
whole
real.
time.
Yes. Sarah.
Well, not the whole
knew.
time, only since like the last incident.
when he did
The big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
He's
like
writing Amy.
when he was writing Amy, like she saw that, and then she just was like, you know what?
She was just like, well, I guess she was right. I'm not going to say shit, but I guess she's not crazy.
I was too scared to think that it maybe could be, and so she let her sister hang out to dry.
Yep. Just left her out high and dry.
Yeah, and which was very much the same thing that happened in the first book.
Yep.
Where there was two sisters, and then one of them at the end was just like, "Oh yeah, I know."
I knew.
I know. Yeah,
I knew. I just didn't. I just
want to leave. Which is like fucking awful. It's so stupid.
But so then that happens, and then they set up the
Rube Goldberg
The
like
complicated-
Mousetrap, the board game-esque fucking
everything
Home
has to
Alone
go
style.
correct type of thing.
The opening scene of Back to the Future fucking let's punch a doll.
We have to make because
Scenario.
at the end you're like, well, shit, they have to get the parents back on board, because in the first book the parents none of that shit like became so elevated that the parents couldn't just be like, well, life goes on.
Yeah.
Like in this one, the parents are like, we're going to take you to
We're gonna lock
a
you up.
psych. Like we're going to take you to get looked at.
Zap you.
And they had to find a way to get everybody to be like, oh, she was right. Slappy is alive.
Yeah, and then that reveal that like the parents knew.
Yeah, so just so we're clear, like there's kind of like this lull where she comes up with this elaborate plan
Off screen.
Yes.
There's like a couple of days pass, I
Yeah.
think. And then like the very last part is Slappy comes out to attack and she runs away. Like he comes out to attack and she watches Slappy go to her sister's room. They knew this was going to happen.
Of course.
And then when it gets there, this is what it says. It's like the very end. Like, it was all planned. Sarah and I had worked on it before dinner. Sarah convinced mom and dad to hide in the closet. This is why this is so wild.
Yeah, which is
Sarah-
why would they even do that?
Would not do that.
Sarah convinced mom and dad to hide in the closet. Mom and dad were really creeped out by the way I was acting, and they were willing to do anything.
Except for listen to me.
Except for listen to me.
Yeah.
Sarah pretended to go to sleep. Mom and dad hid in the closet. Slappy walked in, and then Jed burst out dressed as Dennis, with Dennis's head propped up on his turtleneck. So basically, like what we see here is at the end of this book, we kind of just see it happen in real time, where she follows Slappy into Sarah's room. Who we think is Jed runs in and attacks the dummy to protect Sarah. And then the parents see it and realize, oh shit, no, the dummy was alive this whole time.
And they take it pretty well.
They take it very well.
They were like,
then
we're so sorry. We're so sorry.
Yeah, our bad.
And that's
Our bad,
like,
you.
and when you read that, you're like, it's who cares? Like it doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything. If
Because
anything,
Slappy
it's
goes down
basically-
like nothing.
Oh
like
yeah,
nothing.
he goes down like fucking cardboard.
Because they fight him a lot, and it's like he's so sturdy. He's so resilient.
Yeah, no, they tie his limbs in a knot.
Yeah, which really I was like, that's smart. But like, and all of a sudden they have to kill him, I guess. So his head cracks open.
Exactly. And then what happens is this is that last scene in the movie where like, you know, like they're crumpled on the floor of Sarah's room and they're all hugging because it's like
Crying.
Oh, it's finally
it's
over.
over.
It's that moment. It's finally over. And then Jed steps in the door and he's like, "Oh, sorry, did I miss it?" And they're like, "What? You were here?" And he's like, "Nah, I just woke up." And that's the end. And then it comes like, "What? Gone with the sickness."
Yeah.
I told Danielle midway through the book, because I was reading it a little bit faster than she was. She was playing video games.
Nerd.
Well, all
You should be reading books with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, this is going to end with Dennis saving the day.
And I was like, that's too stupid.
And then it happened.
And then it happened.
And they don't really describe why Dennis.
Why is Dennis alive?
Well, Dennis is alive because he was in the same room when they spoke the words. Which
Oh, is
apparently
that the theory?
The
Okay.
words just bring the dummy to life, which is more stuff like, does the dummy have like a soul and personality? Does every dummy
Yeah.
have the soul of
Does it
somebody
have a
else
consciousness? Is it a demon?
waiting to be woken up?
What are we fucking talking about here?
But like with Dennis plays very little part in almost the entire book. So I was like, there's no reason for them to have had him unless he comes at the end and does something, which he did. So,
And Dennis is alive, but apparently chill.
and Dennis just ran off into the night.
Yeah, Dennis was just like, peace.
Dennis, he literally, this other dummy, which is alive, runs off into the night. So now I'm curious with the next fucking book, Slappy's dead now.
Allegedly. Well, the worm in Slappy isn't dead.
The
though.
worm is still alive. Yeah, because so the head cracks open and a worm crawls away.
Yeah, it crawls into the floorboards.
Yeah. So now the whole house is a dummy.
Now the whole house will be possessed by Slappy's worm.
It's so sad.
It
Yeah.
really is.
It's like sad.
The only reason I wanted to read this one is because I thought Night of the Living Dummy, the first one, was so crazy that I was like, this one's got to be even better.
Yeah, I know. I thought it would be even more wild, but Night of the Living Dummy, the first one, has some truly epic moments.
Yeah.
Like,
It does.
This one
Bangers.
doesn't. This
I
one
mean,
has
like,
none.
in terms, if I had the tier list, like werewolf skin, haunted mask, that's like S tier. This is like B tier,
yeah,
B to C.
yeah.
Could have been higher, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
fucked up.
It could have been.
Yeah. Do we want to just do the closeout now?
Yeah, that felt like a natural place for it. Thank you to the band Dog Party for the use of our theme song, Bad Dream, off of the album Hit and Rung. It's a wonderful song by a wonderful band. You can check them out at dogpartylive.com and dogparty.bandcamp.com. Geesebumps is just one piece of comedy content from the Mom Hat comedy crew. You can check out all the cool stuff we make at mom-hat.com. That's mom-hat.com. Geesebumps, you can get, if you want to talk to us for whatever reason, you can tweet at us at Geesebumps_pod on Twitter, Geesebumps_pod on, is it Geesebumps pod on Instagram?
Yep.
Geesebumps pod on Instagram and geesebumpspod@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. The next episode of Geesebumps is going to be coming out on, I believe it will be Next episode of Geesebumps is coming out on the 15th. I don't know what book we've decided we're going to read yet.
Yeah, if you know, and here's the thing, like hit or miss. If there's a Goosebumps book that you're just like, oh, you got to get
if
this
you're
one.
rock hard to hear us talk about a Goosebump,
yeah,
just
let
let
us
us know.
let
We'll
us
do it.
because we're in very much sort of like a flex period.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going chronologically, and then we did Night of the Living Dummy 2 as like a special anniversary, like, hey, this should be fun.
Yeah, it is the
This
anniversary.
is our anniversary.
episode, isn't it?
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
But like, yeah, if there's a book in the the Goosebumps or Fear Street archives that you're just like, this is the one.
This, you guys.
If you
We'll
want,
read it, partner.
yeah, we'll read it. Unless it's like a new Fear Street that's fucking
God, unless it's boring.
Very
as
long.
800
hell.
pages long. I'm good.
Very, very long.
Believe us, we still want to read this in one night.
Yes, exactly. Keep that in mind.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Danielle, do you have anything that you'd like to say about our ratings?
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Have you ever split wood before?
Like to get for
Like for firewood?
I have actually,
No.
yes.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
You take a little chunk of log, and then you put you have a little crack on top, and you shove a little door stop right in there, and then you whack it real hard with a sledgehammer, and it drives the little doorstop through the wood, and it splits it in half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a theory. And we used to live on this, we lived on a 2-acre eucalyptus ranch. And my dad would chop firewood because we had a wood-burning stove and a wood-burning spa, if you can believe it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was badass. But he's out there chopping wood, and my dad is a nurse. But I'm clumsy. He is capital C clumsy. Like, he has stepped through a glass table before, is how clumsy we're talking.
Bird levels of clumsy.
Bird level clumsy, like smack right into the window.
Gotcha.
So he's out there splitting wood, and I hear a yell, a shout out where he's at, and go over there. It's like, are you okay? And he's on the ground cradling his foot, because here's what this motherfucker did. He was splitting wood. He had it like sat up on a big stump, and then he would swing the sledgehammer, but he put his foot on the stump, like, I don't know, as some kind of anchor or just
I don't like
stupid.
where this is going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, you can see this coming a mile away, as anybody probably would. Motherfucker, he's like, then he has to like peel off his shoe and his sock, and his toes are like mangled hamburger turning purple. And he's just like yowling and rocking back and forth. And so leave us a review, okay? Because what we really, really need from you is just a little support. 5-star review. 5-star review is great.
Oh, God.
And, you know, we love you. Just give us a little love. Tell a friend.
It's my favorite part of the show now. All I do is wait for the end.
Fuck.
It's the Danielle synapse connection.
Jesus Christ.
Welcome to my brain.
Well, I think the only thing that's left is to get through that final
passage.
Danielle, if you could.
Here we go. We knew that would shock Slappy. We knew it would give us a good chance to grab him. We didn't know what a good job Jed would do. We didn't know that Jed would actually destroy the evil dummy. We didn't know that Slappy's head would crack apart. That was just good luck. Hey, where is Jed? I asked, my eyes searching the room. Jed! Jed! Mom called. Where are you? You did a great job. No reply. No sign of my brother. Weird, Sarah muttered, shaking her head. We all trooped down the hall into Jed's room. We found him in bed, sound asleep. He groggily raised his head from the pillow and squinted at us. What time is it? He asked sleepily. It's nearly 11, Dad replied. Oh, no, Jed cried, sitting up. I'm sorry. I forgot to wake up. I forgot I was supposed to dress up like this. I felt a shiver run down my back. I turned to my parents. Then who fought Slappy? I asked. Who fought Slappy?
My name is JoJo. I have a PhD.
My name is Danielle. etc.
My name is Jeff, and all of y'all are ugly. Hey!
Oh!
This has been Geesebumps, the Did You Mean Goosebumps podcast. And until next time, stay out of the basement.
Just like somebody I used to know.